What's going on, guys? Welcome back to WWE Network and Chill, where I, Graham G.S. and Matthews, break down all the original content I watch on the WWE Network and on Peacock. And today we're talking the January 10th, 2023 edition of Raw Talk. We have Jackie Redmond, Matt Camp in the studio, running down the biggest headlines from Monday's show, which, unfortunately, again, a lot like last week, was not the most eventful episode. It was fine, but I feel like a lot of the Raws in the last 3 or 4 months have just felt fine and not exciting, eventful, must-see. We really haven't had that in quite a while. A perfectly fine show, but hardly interesting on the whole, which isn't good. So anyway, they replay the Alexa Bliss segment where she talked for a couple of minutes on top of the commentary table before being interrupted by Uncle Howdy, who showed up on the stage, did nothing. There was a bit of a spoiler that I won't share here anyway, from, I think, PW Insider, potentially revealing the identity of who Uncle Howdy could end up being. So if you want to hear more on that, I won't spoil it here, but PW Insider reported it a couple of days ago. I assume that will end up being the person, by the way. So we catch up with Alexa Bliss backstage. Byron Saxton interviews Alexa Bliss, and Alexa says that she embraces her demons. She revels in what she is, which is, what Uncle Howdy had been saying for months, or what Bray had been saying before he came back at Extreme Rules. He had been saying, revel in what you are. She said that again here. And she also said she is not afraid of Uncle Howdy. Her focus right now is on Bianca Belair and the Raw Women's Championship, and she is in control. Matt Cam says that Bliss probably feels like she's more in control than Bray Wyatt does right now, and she might be able to benefit from this if she can control that anger and whatever else is going on inside her right now. If she can control that, he says, then she can benefit from being dangerous to take that championship away from Bianca. If she can't control it, she'll be in trouble, he says. They recap the Kevin Owens-Baron Corbin opener that was won by Kevin Owens. They hype up Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship at the Royal Rumble, in addition to Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn on SmackDown coming up on Friday, which I'm looking forward to. They recap the Gauntlet main event on Raw this week, which was for an opportunity at the Raw Tag Team titles. To make it very clear here, they included it in the graphic, they mentioned it on commentary, and Matt Camp and Jackie were very clear here in calling it a Raw Tag Team title opportunity. So it honestly does look like, with Dominic filling in for Finn at the end, they are headed towards, very likely, Dominic and Damian becoming the new Raw Tag Team Champions to face Bad Bunny and Rey Mysterio at WrestleMania, which is going to be a good match, I'm sure. To not do Rey and Dominic feels like a missed opportunity at WrestleMania, but maybe they'll save it for SummerSlam or do it at Elimination Chamber instead, who knows. Anyway, so they were very specific in calling it a Raw Tag Team title opportunity. I'm not really in favor of splitting the tag titles. I just don't think that's necessary. That being said, that would also just doesn't make a whole ton of sense from a storyline standpoint, because why would Adam Pearce have this be for the Raw Tag Team titles and not both? Since the Usos became the undisputed tag team champions back in May of last year, they've only ever defended the undisputed tag team titles. Same thing with Roman Reigns. There's still technically 2 different lineages, but they never actually unified the belts, made them a unified set of titles, like one set of championships. I understand that, but they've always defended them as the undisputed titles. It hasn't, like, their matches, a lot like with Roman Reigns, have not been for the Raw Tag Team titles and the SmackDown Tag Team titles. They've just been collectively for the undisputed tag team titles. So, I don't know. I just find that a little weird. Maybe they'll explain it as it gets closer. I don't know. But it certainly does look like the Usos might be dropping those pair of belts anyway to Damian and Finn, or rather Damian and Dominic, before Mania, so they can face Bad Bunny and Rey Mysterio at WrestleMania. Backstage, we hear from Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander, because they were in said Gauntlet matchup as the reunited Hurt Business. They weren't introduced as such. They didn't come out to the music or anything, but it clearly is coming based on Lashley and MVP's segment backstage. I liked how Lashley was hesitant to kind of forgive MVP for what happened with him and Omos last year, who, by the way, we have not seen Omos on Raw in close to like 2.5 months, which I'm not complaining about, but I thought that was worth pointing out, though. I think he's had all of one match since he lost to Braun Strowman at Crown Jewel back in early November. I think he beat Johnny Gargano on Raw at some point after that, but we have not seen him since. And again, I'm not complaining. But Byron obviously asks Benjamin and Alexander about reuniting with Lashley and MVP. What about the Hurt Business? Benjamin says, we are not answering any questions about that right now. We're only going to answer questions about ourselves. So Byron says, well, how did it feel to reunite? And Alexander kind of chips in and says, it felt great to reunite, but they need to coordinate as a team again. They need to get matching gear, get back in sync to be Raw Tag Team Champions again. Back in the studio, they preview the upcoming Usos Judgment Day Raw Tag Team title matchup. When that happens, I don't know. Maybe it is next week. Maybe it's at the Rumble. I didn't see what they said here. I think they were just previewing the match for when it happens. It's an interesting heel versus heel matchup, which I don't think they would do unless they were putting the belts on Judgment Day. So time will tell on that front. Matt Camp praises Judgment Day's cohesion and says that if there's any team that's going to take the belts off of the Usos, it could very well be the Judgment Day. Granted, not both set of championships, but at least that pair of titles. They recap the Theory, Rollins, Lashley segment, or replay that segment with Bobby coming back and attacking Theory after going face-to-face with Rollins, all setting up for the Rumble. All three men will be in the men's Royal Rumble matchup. Backstage, Kathy Kelly catches up with Austin Theory, who finds out from Kathy herself that Lashley is no longer suspended. He's back. Theory, all bothered, says that he plans to win the Rumble. Kind of reiterates what he said on Raw, and then he plans to win the Rumble and win the WWE Universal Championship at WrestleMania. He also calls Lashley a roadblock and says Lashley has another thing coming if he thinks that Theory's just a kid that he can easily overcome. Matt Camp says in response to Jackie's question, is Theory over his head? Does he have too much going on right now? Camp says no, he had a great 2022. He backs that up, which he did. Money in the Bank winner, United States champion winner, championship winner twice, whatever. He is not over his head. He's got the thing going on with Rollins and now Lashley in the Rumble, but he thinks he can handle it. And Matt Camp also talks about Rollins, Lashley, and Theory, their chances of winning the Royal Rumble, and says that Theory might have the most to gain since Rollins and Lashley have kind of already had their WrestleMania moments, with Rollins having the greatest cash-in of all time back at WrestleMania 31, and Lashley retaining the WWE title back at WrestleMania 37. Theory hasn't really had a Mania moment. He's been at 2 Manias, including Mania 36, actually. He was on that show. Blink and you missed it. It was in that random Raw Tag Team title match at WrestleMania 36 in the Thunderdome, or rather the fucking Performance Center. But he wasn't Mania twice. He needs that Mania moment. He probably has the most to gain. And he also says, Camp says, to not sleep on that MVP factor for Bobby Lashley. And then to close out the show, they promote Johnny Gargano, who we found out on Raw this week was injured, and hopefully he'll be back for the Rumble. I don't think he will be, but hopefully he is. And Dexter Lumis for the bump. And that was Raw Talk in a nutshell for January 10th, 2023. Pretty standard show. The interviews were kept fairly short from Alexa Bliss, from Cedric, from Shelton, from Austin Theory. We did get some star power on the show, which was nice. So if nothing else, that was appreciated. Thank you guys for checking out my review of Raw Talk for this week. I appreciate it. Be sure to like the video, drop a comment, share the video, and subscribe to the channel for more daily content. I'm Graham G.S. Matthews. Have an awesome week, and I'll catch your ass down the road.